Oh, the nostalgia vibe is strong with this one. Garmin nuvi 255W. This is not the other one that I made a video about. That was the 255WT. That one was sealed. This one was acquired from a thrift store for $5. Yep, $5. Just the screen. No mount, no power cord, but I have all that stuff, so I said, okay, $5. Let's see if it works. It does. And what I did, let me just go to the settings. So yeah, 255W. I updated the software version via Garmin Express. You will notice right here there is a screen scratch. For $5 acceptable. To resurrect one of these, it requires connecting it to Garmin Express first, and then putting in a 32 gig excuse me, 32 gig memory card, which I did, and that's it. So, oh well, the maps. So I used the maps, my maps. Yep, from sat103.com, and I put those on here. Works just fine. This model, I ran with one of these for 2 to 3 years, I think, back in the late 2000s. Yeah, back then there was a time when this was my only GPS, the only one that I had, and there are times I look at this thing and I think I'd like to go back to it. Honestly, I would sometimes like to go back to it just because it is so easy. It is so easy to use. But fast forward all these years later, and could I? I could only if I was using OpenStreetMap, like what is on it now, because the Garmin maps, the ones provided by here, too slow on this thing. It's just too slow. But with OpenStreetMap, this thing is nice and quick, calculates fast. Okay, fast-ish. This is a slow unit. It just is, because this is from 2008, something like that. With OpenStreetMap and looking up locations via coordinates and using POI databases, you know, custom POIs from the POI loader that you make yourself, this can still be used today regularly as a daily driver. Would I use it over the nuvi excuse me, 40 or 50? Probably not. Only because the 30, 40, 50, 42, 44, 52, 54 are faster. They can use Garmin HERE maps still with relative speediness. But this one, it's all about the nostalgia vibes. It really is, because I look at this thing, I'm like, man, I drove over so many roads using this thing, and it worked. It still works. There are a few things that I really like, though, about the 200 series, this 255. One of them is that the speed is gigantic. I love that. I always love that about this thing. This is just great. And this is all there is on the screen. There's no scrolling down or anything like that. So when I go here, how much distance is left to the destination? That's an regular odometer right here in your cardinal direction here. This field cannot be modified. Nope. And another thing that I love about this is the list of directions is large, with arrows that are have high contrast to them, day mode or night mode. And this arrow up here, large, good. This text up here, not as big as I would like, but still. This thing can still kick it with the best of them. And the 4.3 inch of this, it's still one of the best sizes ever made. It still is. The 5 inch, yeah, that's ubiquitous. And now everyone uses a 6 inch. I mean, I use a 6 inch with the Drive Smart 66. Oh, there's another thing about this that they took away in later models. Is the, it's under settings, I think. Yeah, security, the Garmin lock thing. A problem with modern Garmins is that if someone were to steal your Garmin, all they have to do is turn it on and they know all your locations. And that is not good. But with this one, there's a pin lock feature where if you turn it on, if you are at your residence, your house, your apartment, the lock will not activate because it knows where you are. But if you are not there, if you say drive even as little as 500 feet away from your safe location, so to speak, it will prompt for a pin in order to access the unit, turn it on, use it, and whatever. And there were people that complained about that. Oh, there were. But with this decidedly old model, it's got the Garmin lock. And yes, that was there on the 3.5 inch models with the two, I believe all the way back, starting with the 200. So 200, 205, 255 like this one. I'm sorry, 255, 255W like this one. 265, 260, 275, 270. I think there was a 285. Anyway, yeah, I believe all of the 200s had that Garmin lock feature. Nice. Yeah, nice. Oh, by the way, yeah. When you simulate route with one of these things, every now and then you'll see it go a little nuts. That's just, it doesn't do that when it's actually on the road. It only happens in simulation. That's why it slows down to almost nothing, and then it'll speed up and then do a circle round and all this stuff. Is it stuck? Oh, it might be stuck. That's okay. We'll just stop right here. And I do like the color palette that it uses. It's fantastic. Yeah, it just looks good. And you can still scroll around the map, whatever. And I have the entire United States loaded into this thing. Some people miss this too, is Garmin's used to have a little mouse cursor. And you can move the cursor around. You can't drag it around, but you can tap in different places and then drag the screen. Some people miss this because they said, oh, you could get so precise with that. Yeah, you could. You could actually. Like if I want to get right there, I could. Yeah. But again, there are times I look at this and like, I'd like to go back to it. Oh, excuse me. I'd like to go back to it, but I can't. Just because I have the nuvi 40, 50, 30, 40, and 50, and those, while it does not have the Garmin lock on it, it is faster, and that is the one that works best with OpenStreetMap maps. It does. This totally does work, though. This totally does work. But, oh, such strong nostalgia vibes from this one, because you got to remember, and I'll just end on this note, back in the day, 2008, okay, the smartphone basically didn't exist. Okay, technically it did, but it was in its really early stages, and there was no navigation on smartphones then. I think the iPhone had only been out, was it launched in '08? It was either '07 or '08. iPhone was barely 1 or 2 years old at that point. It didn't. I don't believe it had navigation, and that is not even 3G. That's Edge, if, for those that remember that, which was so slow for data connectivity. It had it, yeah, but it was really slow, and that's why you really couldn't do navigation with it. So everyone used these, and the 255W in particular, this one and the 260W, this is what everyone bought. I mean, yeah, there were some guys that had money and they would buy a 755 or an 855 or something like that, but that was only for someone that had, like, deep pockets. But for everyone else, including myself, you would either use a 3.5 inch like a 260, or a 255 3.5 inch, or a 4.3, because didn't have the 5 inch yet. And most people would opt to get the 255. That was the one that was about the right price for, yeah, about the right price for what you got, and it totally worked. I look at this, I'm like, oh, I could go back to this. I could, but no, no, no. Given the choice between this, as far as how old will I go, choice between this and the nuvi 40, oh, I would take the 40 any day. I would always take the 40. I just like it so much better, and I know it's faster, and I know it would just suit better for me. The fonts are bigger on the 40. Now, I know there are some people that watch my channel that actually purposely use really ancient Garmin's daily, like a nuvi 360. Hats off to you guys that actually can rock those things, because I can't. I have to use something at least from 2011, 2012. And this is before that, which is why I say nuvi 40, nuvi 50. But if you want to talk about ultra cheap, let's just say I wanted to go super, yeah, I'll end on this actually. Let's just say I wanted to go super ultra cheap with my navigation. Okay, how could I do it? Well, all I would need is this and one Garmin charge cord. I could skip the memory card and put in a partial map. There's no way to fit the entire United States on this thing. So I'd have to do a partial map, and the update for the system software is free. Yeah, and use some kind of cell phone mount, with grips on it, so it would grip the screen, and then just mount that somewhere. And technically I could, so it would be cost of the unit itself, $5. Cost of a dirt cheap cell phone mount, however much that is, probably another, like, if I really searched around, I could probably find one for like $3. Possibly in the thrift store. So, all right, so we're up to $8 at that point. And the Garmin charger, I would try to see if I could find that in the thrift store for free. So yes, I could have a working navigation complete system for under $10. It's doable if you search around enough.